You know, it's no secret that COVID-19 has had a profound impact on the travel industry in 2020. Looking ahead, many are wondering what that means for next year. A recent survey of U.S. travelers from Airbnb has revealed the top 3 travel trends in 2020. And joining us now to discuss this is the Senior Vice President for Global Public Policy and Communications at Airbnb, Chris Lehane. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Annie, thanks for having me. I hope you and everyone out there is safe and sound.
We're doing great in Palm Springs, and we, of course, are a great destination, as you know, and we are wondering, what do the trends look like in 2020?
Yeah, clearly the pandemic has impacted how people think about travel. People still do want to fundamentally travel. They just want to do it a little bit differently. And what we've picked up is something that we broadly call live anywhere. And it's this notion or concept that as travel is changing, the way people are living, the way they're working, even the places they're thinking of going to. And we really see this manifesting itself in 3 distinct ways. The first is something called a staycation, where you'll get in your car with your family, drive a couple hours, get a whole home. Obviously, Palm Springs is a place that is ideal for that. The second is how work and travel are really becoming integrated, with more and more people working from home. They're building that into their travel planning, the types of accommodations they're looking for, the type of support that exists in those, how long they're going to stay. And then the third piece, and I think this ultimately speaks to the power of travel, is people are looking to travel. They're looking for the human connections. They want to do it safely. And so they're traveling in something that we call pods. And that could be a group of close friends or a family, an extended family members, identifying a home and all of them traveling together to that place. Again, people want to travel. They want to be able to do it, though, in a safe and responsible way, but they do want those human connections that they get from travel.
Yes, I love that idea of the pod travel. Tell us what some of the safety protocols are that Airbnb has put in place.
Yeah, great question, and really foundational to any decision that any traveler is making, whether on Airbnb or on any other platform, which is really prioritizing for your safety and health and that of your family. We do think that we have 3 unique elements that are specific to Airbnb. The first is something I briefly touched on, but this idea that you get a whole home. It's your own place. There's not common spaces that you have to share, multiple bedrooms, your own kitchen, and it gives you really control over that space in terms of who you engage with and interact with. The second is something that we call the enhanced cleaning protocol. It's a 5-step plan. It's required to be, if you're going to be a host on Airbnb. It was developed in consultation with leading public healthcare experts, including the former Surgeon General of the United States. And then the third piece, or third element, is something that really is special to Airbnb, and that is hosts and guests do rate each other. Guests specifically rate hosts on the cleanliness, health, safety of that home that they're staying in. That really does align interests between those two. Hosts are not going to stay on the platform very long if they're not getting high ratings. And as a result, the overwhelming majority, the vast majority of our hosts get extraordinarily high ratings, and particularly in this moment in time on health, cleanliness, and safety. Ultimately, all of these elements, all 3 of them, are designed to give that traveler the levers to make the best choices for them and their family in the context of the pandemic.
It sounds very extensive, very, very impressive indeed. So what are the destinations? What kind of destinations are you finding folks are looking for?
Yeah, that really breaks out into two categories. First of all, there are people are increasingly getting their car, driving a couple hours and going to places that they may have gone for 2 weeks in the summer, or a week over the holidays. Obviously, Palm Springs has always been a destination for those types of travelers, but now you're increasingly seeing people maybe staying a bit longer in those types of places, but also not just doing it in what have been the typical traditional travel season. And so for economies that are really dependent, or at least in part dependent on travel economics, it means that travel season is being extended, and potentially more economics becoming available. And the second way things have really evolved is actually the categories and the types of accommodations. And this is one to have some fun with in this particular moment. But you do see people on the platform really looking for authentic, unique types of properties. It could be an A-frame, but it also could be a yurt a treehouse, a boat. You can get a World War II submarine in Wisconsin, a baseball park in Florida. And I'm not sure if you're interested in this, Sandy, but an 8-foot potato in Idaho, if that's something that you've been thinking about your whole life. But the bottom line here is that people are really looking for the actual nature of the accommodation to help enhance those connections with where they're traveling to and the connections with the people they're traveling with.
Wow, it sounds, I'm not sure about that baked potato, but I appreciate that it is available and maybe I'll look into it. Do you think going forward, some of these changes and modifications you've had to put in place for the pandemic will continue?
Yeah, I do. Look, some of these changes will be fleeting and really reflect the actual pandemic itself. But a number of these are going to be really enduring. Travel will fundamentally change. And I think the two that I really point people towards is I do think you're going to see this increasing integration of work and travel. People will be able to go to different places right now, domestically, hopefully at some point internationally, and be able to spend extended time periods there and combine both their work and their vacation and be able to bring their families. And I think the second one, I think this is really, if there's not a lot of positives coming out of the pandemic, I do think this is one of them. The fact that people really are exploring the proverbial backyards of where they live, communities that maybe they wouldn't have gone to in the past, and realizing how rich those places are in terms of what they have to offer. And so I think you're going to get a little bit more of this localized travel, which is ultimately really good for the economy. Rural areas, in June, we generated $200 million for those hosts. And at a time period when, the economic consequences of COVID will be with us for some time, allowing hosts to use these homes where they make the vast majority of the economics and keep it, I think will be a good thing. And the combination of people traveling in their backyards and then those hosts and those communities benefiting will be a positive.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you've come up with some great solutions. I've become inspired, not the potato necessarily, but some other good spots. So where can we go for more information?
You go to AIRBNB.com. You'll have all the background on the health and safety steps that we're taking. But also there's a specific part of the site that you'll see called Go Near, where you can plug in what you're looking for, where you're looking to travel, and you'll very quickly get a whole bunch of options to choose from. It doesn't have to be the potato. It could be the A-frame. It could be whatever you are really looking for, but we'll likely have it. And the site's really designed to give you as many options as you can and to help you be empowered to make those choices.
Sounds terrific. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us, and thanks for all the great information. Stay well and be safe.
Thank you, Sandy. I hope everyone Palm Springs is good and safe and healthy and prioritizing their safety. Thank you so much.
So much.